Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're so glad you're taking part of your evening with us. I'm Alyssa DeFilippo, Program Manager of Connections California, Parents Helping Parents Online, statewide resource and information hub for transition to adulthood and adult service. You are at a panel discussion for post-secondary education options. And as I said, something a little bit different this evening. We will go just in alphabetical order of the participants who are here this evening to present to you. We'll go in succession and we'll take questions at the end. First up will be the College Internship Program, and we'll have Jessica Stewart, who is the program manager at SIP in Berkeley, and Michael Noel is also here. He's the regional director of operations for the West Coast. Second will be the College Living Experience, also called CLE. We have Amy Rodochansky, who's the president of the College Living Experience here, and her backup is Jennifer Johnson. From College of Marin, representing the college community colleges in California, is Stormy Miller, director of student services. And representing the college to career programs, this one in Santa Rosa, but representing C2C programs in the state of California, is Lindsay Lero, and she is the coordinator of the program. From Meristem, out in the Sacramento area, we have Chelsea Sanderson, who's an enrollment specialist, and Selena Chang, who is the executive assistant and property coordinator. And last but certainly not least is the UC Davis Redwood Seed Scholars Program, representing inclusive college programs in California, with Sarah Barnes, academic director. So we have a good lineup for you. I am going to stop my share and I am going to hand it over to Jessica Stewart of College Living Experience.
Thank you so much. And I'm very excited to be first. Since I wasn't able to pull up my slides, Michael will follow through them. So bear with us in case I go forward or go back. And thank you for being here, everyone, and allowing us to share just a little bit with you about college internship. I'm Jessica Stewart, Program Director at our Berkeley Center. And College Internship Program specializes in supporting young adults with autism and learning differences to provide them with the tools and resources they need to achieve independence and success in all aspects of their life. Okay. We are currently celebrating our 40th anniversary. This here is our founder, Michael McMahon, who founded us 40 years ago and now have since handed it down to his son, Dan McMahon, who runs it and the president of our organization at the moment. And he just saw a need 40 years ago to just change the way society sees learning differences and what they can achieve. So as you know, we've got about 10 minutes. So I'm just going to run through our slides and give you a very brief overview. And so we have a lot of slides and we're just going to power through them, but we will make these slides available to you so that you can have a look through them a little bit slower and understand everything. So I won't go over everything that's written here because it's a lot of information, but most importantly, I'd like to say that our core purpose is to empower people to develop their full potential. And we do that through a very comprehensive program, working through college, employment, independent living. We've got 5 different centers across the United States. However, our students come from all over the world. Our students enroll with us from the ages 18 to 26. However, we do have students that stay with us a little bit longer, but that our enrollment processes start at that age. Our students have a diagnosis with autism spectrum and other learning differences. We have a very intensive program that requires our students to be motivated and to have an actual high IQ, because we love working with students who actually want to be with us, which helps us to be successful as well. Our students need to be emotionally and psychologically prepared to be in our program. Our program is very comprehensive, as I said. We work through college and career and independent living with over 190 students enrolled with us, with over 120 staff as well. So you can see that We have a very high number of staff compared to as well as our students that work with us. Some of our students are private pay and some of them are student funding. The average stay is about 2 to 3 years within our program. Now, we are a full year program, in which one of the things that are unique is we also provide residential support through apartment living. And so it's fantastic. We don't have a dorm setting. We actually have apartment living where we work with students in the centers that we run, as well as in the apartments. And so we're able to work with our students in our center, whether they're going through the college academic track or the C-STEP, which is our career development track, but as well as working with them inside of the apartments that they're living in. Our program is full year, so we have fall, spring, and summer terms, as well as internships and community service, which is a very great component that we work through as well. Our services supports um, a lot of different programs, which is college, employment, independent living. And we'll go through that a little bit in depth in the further slides, but health and wellness and creative arts are also a part of our services that make us very independent. So we not only go through the employment and academic services, but we are very holistic program and looking at all of the different things that our students may need to become independent. One of those things are the advising, and some other programs may look at that as sort of a caseworker, but for us, it's sort of that person who is the hub who connect us, our families, and our students and the success. And so these advisors are the ones that are communicating with the families and the parents like yourself on how the students are going and how to connect them with the other services that they need or what they may need to reach their goals. They liaison with parents as well as our other departments so that we're able to help them through any of their goals that they've set, excuse me. Our life skills and apartment living department really work on assisting our students to build those, to help them with those building blocks that are needed with living in their apartments. And that might be cleaning or laundry, as well as from the start to the beginning of menu planning, all the way up to grocery shopping and cooking the food that they've actually planned. Also very uniquely and important is how to live with other students. Our students live with roommates in their apartments, and so they have a shared living space. And so we work with them through those dynamics, as we know that can be a little bit difficult sometimes. And so we work with them in those roommate meetings, as well as encourage them to have potluck dinners and other activities. But very importantly, we work with them for emergency preparedness. And that is so that our students can also be confident in going out, living independently, and feeling safe. Our academic program supports our staff, our students through the process of um, working with colleges and universities, and we liaison with those colleges as well, so that they can understand the path or assist them to even enroll in accommodations to advocate for the things that they may need within their academic goals. Like so, we also have a career development department that we really work with students to develop that path that they may need to transition into employment or to get into their first taste of employment so they can transition into their career so they can be self-sufficient, because we know that that is a part of the independent living. We have our goal of 100% internship rate as well as community service, which is a very big component of our program. But we also work with the academic departments so that we can help them to merge those goals or to move on from education to employment as well. Our social support is a very huge component, as we know in our population. We like to inspire them to be confident and advocate and to feel prepared to work through different relationships. We work with the peers program, and that's with the young adult curriculum. And we have certified staff through peers as well that work with our students in group settings, as well as individual social coaching, social mentoring, so that our students can reach their goals on a social level as well. Most importantly, we also have our global engagement, which is a very unique part of our program where we actually take our students abroad every winter. This year, we're going to Belize, so we're very excited about that to give our students an opportunity to be a part of a different culture, a different environment to use some of those skills that they've learned throughout the year. Health and wellness is another part of our program that helps our students to become, to help our program to become holistic as they work through some of those life skills and academics and careers. We also like to help them to become healthy and well-being, and we use fitness, and we have programs that work in our local gyms, as well as looking at some of these groups that can work together on some of their goals for fitness. And that might be through yoga or mindfulness, meditation, anything that we know that can help our students with our other goals as they work through stress resilience and nutrition courses as well. Clinical services is another unique program that we have. We're one of the first programs that provide clinical services within this sort of structure. And our clinical services are by licensed clinicians on staff. However, their focus is to work with our students through that transitional program, through the transitional service that they might be going through with us in our program. So it does not replace their outside therapy, but it's something to assist them as they go through our program. And we use various methods that could be through art or any other sort of group therapy that they might need. Creative arts is another component that's very exciting to use as our students go through some of their goals. We like to also allow them to express themselves through creative arts. And in each of our centers, as I said, we have 5 centers. We do it a little bit different through creative arts, programming arts. We have one center that just completely have productions, performing arts productions. We also have a national student art contest that all of our students participate in, and other project-based activities. So you
I'm
might ask,
sorry, Jessica, we have about 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay, I will just go very quickly that we have a very high success rate, 9 out of 10, and our staff and students are very likely to refer a friend. Lastly, I'll just sort of touch on our GLC program. We do have a graduate program for our students, so we don't just sort of throw them out there. We have a full year program that they go through with us right after graduation. Uh, and we do have a summer program for students the last year of high school or from our sophomores to recently graduated high schoolers, where they have 2 weeks that they come and experience what we're all about. It's a very small group purposely on college campuses, which often transitions into our program. So that's a very quick view. I'm so sorry so much for such a comprehensive program. But like I said, the slideshow, we can make it available for whoever, and feel free as well to contact me for more information that I didn't cover.
And we will be sending out all the slide decks that we get to the attendees tonight. And as I've said, the raw footage of this presentation will be sent out, and you can watch that for about a week. And then within 3 to 4 weeks, we'll have the edited version in our e-learning library to look at forever. And there's your timer. And we are now on to Amy Rodenchowski with College Living Experiences. Thanks, Amy. And thank you, Jessica and Michael.
Hi. I just put in a request to be able to share. For some reason, it's not allowing me to share my screen right at this moment. You could, if anyone's able to enable that, would be great. There we go. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Sorry.
Awesome. No worries. There's all the technology stuff. Hi there. I'm Amy Radoshonsky. I'm the president of College Living Experience. It's great to be here. I have been at CLE for 16 years now, and excited to share with you a little bit about what we do and who we are. The core of who we are is that we're helping neurodiverse students find an opportunity to pursue their goals and dreams for living outside of their family home. And, I find that often what that comes down to is really simple when we stop and think about it. It's a job, a home, and a friend. And ultimately, that's what we all seek around us at some point. And how we get there is the harder part. It's really the part that can take a lot of twists and turns. So we're trying to meet students where they are. Each student comes to us at a different time in their educational journey. Most students enter after high school, be it 18 or 22 when they complete. But other times, students come to us after an interrupted start in the college setting. So we want to work collaboratively with them because we see ourselves as a temporary part of their lives. We are providing an opportunity to grow and facilitate their access to their community, to higher education, to jobs, and finding connection with people. And so what that means is that we are temporary and we want them to start to learn how to access those resources, work with their family members, their therapists, their providers, their educational professors who will be with them throughout their journey. And a big part of who we are is really separating from the K-12 space to, like, we view it as a choice, and that you get to be here at CLE. This is as much of a process of application as it is of you deciding that we are an environment that might be right for your journey into higher education. So we are located around the US, and I'll get into the California base in a second. One of the things we pride ourselves on is that unique meeting you where you are, is we have more than 60 different higher ed settings that students have been enrolled at or are enrolled at, because students come to us and attend community college, four-year universities, technical schools at any number of our settings that we're in. So they are pursuing all kinds of different degrees. I can't name them all, but the cool thing is that be it a certificate, an AA degree, or a four-year or advanced degree, they have their own charted course STEM content that I will never be able to process. And these organic chem programs that students are in Denver, or be it even welding programs that I'm not skilled at here in California and Monterey. So it's really neat to see students thriving in a track that meets their needs. We also, have students from around the country because this is about finding the location that fits their needs. Hopefully, this mirrors what perhaps a sibling or if they've seen friends go through, where it's a college application process where they get to decide, what kind of community do I want to be in? What campus environment looks great? What apartment setting looks like a place I'd want to live? So for that reason, there's a lot of choice here in California. We have 3 centers in California. Our Monterey Center opened in 2007. Our Costa Mesa Center opened in 2011. And San Diego just opened this fall. They're all considered hubs where there's a variety of different educational options for students. So they can each pursue, like I said, their own track. About 70% of our students are on a track of pursuing higher education. That could be that they're exploring it at first to see if this aligns with their long-term path, or it could mean that they are pursuing it for their four-year transfer and then completing their degree. Our career development program is also a really thriving part of our community because for some students, maybe education is not their bag. Maybe it's not what they need to get the job that is of interest to them. And it's only worth pursuit if that's what they really want to do. So we really make sure that career development is an active part of all students' journey because they're all going to get there in the end. So partnerships with community organizations is huge, be it the group of students who were college bound but all got jobs at the Angels University or Angels Stadium down in Anaheim, or the large volume of students who are working at the Monterey Bay Aquarium, both out of interest and just kind of this passion for being in that space. So the students are really finding a safe space away from home, but these really nice communities. I'm going to just gloss through this, but yes, they're college-age students. They're motivated to be here. They have a goal, and they just need the support and resources to help them get there. Our students are free of significant mental health needs, but most of our students present with some kind of comorbid needs surrounding anxiety or depression that they're managing with their healthcare provider that is outside of CLE. We do that because we feel like that's a relationship that they want to maintain after they leave us. So they might have an established care provider that they want to keep as their primary mental health resource. So each of our students, I mentioned it's individualized, but what that means to us is that they get their own pathway. So each student is charted out on a course. And if you're like most college students, you don't stay on the same path. That might change semester to semester. That might mean week to week, year to year. So there's a lot of fluidity. You'll see between each semester, we look at, are they on an academic or career path, or maybe a toggling between both? We provide support about 16 to 20 hours a week of individual and group instruction. We're using assessments to drive programming, both standardized assessments and ones that we've created because we felt like some of these standard ones aren't really touching on all the skills that we think are needed. So we chart goals for students. We help them understand where their trajectory is, use their voice to help buy in. And, parents, you all start to take this little bit of a backseat to being more of an advisor, and you get to let us do a lot of the work alongside them to help set their goals. Parents have this opportunity to see everything that the students are working on, but we're working directly with these adults who are enrolled in the program. College, if a student is enrolled in a higher education setting, they can come to our CLE center to get all the executive functioning support, help that self-advocacy, practice communication with professors, balance the time management because free time in college can be really tricky to manage. So we want to make sure that they have the adequate support to reteach and organize content that will help them through their courses. Students who participate, all students actually use the Greenwood assessment, which is a career assessment that we use. It's more of a portfolio where we're looking at the students' interests, values, skills, grit, all that good stuff, and then helping them through this process of finding their long-term employment. Our students are, I'll defy the notion that some students are not social if they have autism, as an example. We've got students all out just trying to find the right people that are right for them. So it's our job to build community and facilitate that. We're finding and meeting them where they're interested. Dungeons and Dragons group, one of the most popular things that you can come to at CLE. I defy parents' expectations by saying, well, they're not interested in physical activity because we've got a group of pickleball students down in Costa Mesa. They're out there every Friday afternoon engaging in lessons and a tournament. So we find students and find the space for them to engage in healthy activities in their environment, test them a little bit, stretch out a little bit to see and expose themselves to something new. And again, when they're outside the family home, we get to be the guys that kind of give them that nudge to do that. We've got students dating, exploring healthy relationships, understanding what it looks like to be with a roommate. And that's a really important part of finding community and connection, just overall well-being for students. And a huge part of living, quote unquote, independently, which is I'm not independent. I've got people helping me out today, shuttling my kids around, doing things for me to support me. But so that time management and organization is a tricky one for all of us. But we need to help students learn how to organize their house, live outside of their parents' home, and flex those muscles a little bit differently in a new space. We want them to find financial responsibility and get literacy instruction surrounding financial topics. So these are all really important skills to us, and we help students understand where they can get to with this. Excited to be here, and I'm glad you'll have these slides to delve in more and explore our program online.
Wonderful.
Did I do my 10 minutes?
Thank you,
Right
Amy.
at it?
You did. Good for you. Here goes the timer. All
Okay.
right. Thank you so much. And something that Amy did talk about was, the parent taking the back seat. And we call it moving from manager to consultant. And actually next week, we have our presentation called From Driver to Passenger. And it's will be in English and Spanish. I'll put the link in. I already put the link to the calendar in, but I'll put the link in to those two presentations next week. I think it's Wednesday and Thursday. And next up, we have Stormy Miller from College of Marin. Thank you. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you, Alyssa, and so good to be here with you all. I am Stormy Miller-Sabia with the College of Marin. I'm one of our directors of student services, and I have the privilege and pleasure to work closely with our student accessibility services and our mental health resources, our psychological services, and some of our instructional programs as well. And today I'm going to try to be as general as I share some information about College of Marin, but try to be as general as possible so you can get a sense of the California Community College system. And I know that here with us this evening, we also have Santa Rosa Junior College, which is our neighboring community college up north. So you have a few experts or individuals that work closely in these spaces. So I'll move to the next slide. So just a bit about College of Marin. We are one of the 116 California community colleges. We're located here in the North Bay area, and we're a single college district, but we have two campuses, one here in Kentfield, where I'm situated right now, and we also have our Indian Valley campus. And total enrollment, we have a really robust community ed division, but we also offer credit and non-credit courses. And so our total enrollment headcount is about 12,000. And then we also have about 91, we're a smaller college, but we have 91 degrees and certificates offered. Share a little bit about what those certificates might look like. From early childhood education, degrees in psychology, thinking about automotive technology. We are actually in the process of developing a social work associate degree, which will be in full effect in fall of 2025. So there's quite the array of offerings. And if you look within the California community college system, some much more robust than us, but I think we do a pretty good job for a small college. And our mission, we're just committed to educational excellence that's rooted in providing equitable opportunities for and fostering success for all of our diverse learners in our community. So I'm going to share a little this framework. I want to talk a little bit about guided pathways because this is going to come up regardless of what California Community College and even outside of the state. You're going to hear about guided pathways. And this framework has been in implementation for a number of years now. But ultimately what it's designed for as learners come into this space, it's designed to support individuals in thinking about what your goal is, right? For some, that's, very clear. I know what I'm passionate about. I know I want a degree. I know I want to transfer. For others, I want to build skills and I want to work in this environment. And so we acknowledge that for each individual, it's going to look a little bit different, but it is important to have a goal in mind. And so we're talking about the curricular pathway to employment or furthering education. We want to help students choose that path and enter a path. And we want to help them stay on it and ensure that there's learning on that path. So you'll hear us talk a lot about developing an initial education plan or something more comprehensive, depending on what the goal is. Ultimately, I do want to share for individuals that might be thinking, but gosh, if I'm talking about a student who is just fresh out of high school and there's this need for some exploration, there's space for that as well. But ultimately, we use this as a guide for individuals to know what we have to offer and think about, what that might look like in terms of the courses that they might take, whether that's 1 or 4 in a given semester. And usually this means working closely with the academic counselor and other counselors if needed to really help identify what that path is and receive the necessary support along the way. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this slide. I think it's it's important, but it's becoming less relevant as time goes on. But it is important, many of us may remember when going to community college, there was a placement exam. You took the standardized test and it told you where you fell into math and English, and maybe that there were some basic skills, developmental education that occurred. And I just wanted to let you all know, for those of you that may be aware of that, know that much of that placement process has phased out, and we use a multiple measures approach to help support a student if there's some general education, specifically in math and English, that's going to be taken early on to help determine what's going to be the most appropriate course. Talked a little bit about options, right? And you'll see at every community college, it might be bundled a little bit different, but to kind of help in that guidance. So I talked about auto machine technology. Maybe it's more earth, environment, environmental action, sustainability. Maybe it leans into people, culture, society, STEM, maybe wellness. And so it's important to explore in your community what those offerings are and how the and to think about what might be an appropriate pathway as a student and also a community supporting the student. Beyond the academic piece, what I appreciate about the community colleges and what we're doing, and really for that matter, colleges in general, you're starting to see more and more of this holistic approach that's taken in terms of education, learning, and building that support system within the college environment. Those mental health services, basic needs, access to food and housing. Of course, we have our disability support programs, our accessibility services, financial aid and working through that application process, learning communities that lift up identities, tutoring, reading. What about undocumented student services and support, and just understanding what's available to individuals, and our career and internship services and transfer support. I'm situated a lot with our accessibility services. So absolutely, when individuals are talking about, students are exploring what that educational pathway may be, I'm leaning into, if there was a 504 IEP, or even without those things, if there's a recognition that accommodations, reasonable accommodations, access support is needed, then connecting with accessibility services, DSPS, the Disability Resource Department, early to talk about, before you even start the classes, to talk about what's available and what that might look like in the college environment and how that might differ from the high school environment is really important. You will see similarities, but you will absolutely learn about differences. And so talking about that and developing an academic accommodation plan, that's what we call it in the community college environment, that transition is important to do that early. So where should you begin? Explore your local community college, play around on the website, meet with a counselor, try to set up a tour. Take time to connect with the disability support program and get to know what they offer. Many of them have expansive services. SRJC will talk about College to Career, which is a unique program that not every college has, right? We have a common application within the 116 colleges, which simplifies it to a certain extent. Look at your financial resources like financial aid. Develop that educational plan and know that you can change that plan. Register for your classes and make sure that you're fully aware of the support services, because we're here for you. We want to see students be successful. And we know that it's more than just stepping into the classroom and thinking about the course or discipline. There's a holistic approach that needs to be taken. And just a few resources, you'll have access to these slides. I think there's probably more and better ones out there, but I share these as an offering. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Stormy. You come in with 1 minute and 45 seconds to go. Impressive. And something I was thinking about when Stormy was talking is that if you have students out there who might potentially be Department of Rehabilitation clients as well, the Department of Rehabilitation will pay for community college tuition, I believe, yes. And at other places, they may, and I say may with the capital MAY, pay up to community college tuition, but that would be all within the individual plan of employment that was worked out with your DOR counselor. But anyway, I digress. We have several DOR information videos in our e-learning library. But now we shall move on to Lindsay from College to Career in Santa Rosa. And thank you, Stormy.
Thank you, Alyssa. And yes, that was great information leading into me, actually, because there's so much, a lot of what Stormy just said has to do with our program too. So I'm here from the College to Career Program at the Rosa Junior College. I'm happy to be here tonight to share with you about the College to Career Program. Some of this is specific to our Santa Rosa campus, but we also have, there are 9 like programs in the state of California. So this is very, it's going to be great for anybody who's not in our area, because there's going to be a College to Career Program near them. And so our program was established in 2010. It's a 3-year cohort model, which means that every single fall, we enroll 20 to 25 new students, and they go through a 3-year program together. One of the requirements is a disability or a diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder and or intellectual disability or developmental disability. And the whole long-term goal for our program is competitive integrated employment. So we have a lot of students who go straight into a job. We have some students who really all of a sudden get traction in college and maybe transfer to a 4-year. But the real big goal of our program is competitive integrated employment. And so as you guys, a lot of these programs have talked about the history of post-secondary education for people with disabilities, but any type of post-secondary opportunity is going to make them 26 times more likely to get employed and have 73% chance of a higher weekly wage than people without it. So this program was founded in order to kind of meet that need and help our students with disabilities go show the world how awesome they are. So where are the other programs? We're in Santa Rosa. There's Sacramento City College, College of Alameda. Then there's we've got North Orange, Fresno City College, West LA, San Diego Community College. And then one that's not up here is up in Shasta County. So we're all over the place. And our program specifically in Santa Rosa, I'm very proud of. We've paved the way the last few years. We've been #1 in career placements. We've been #1 in program completion. And we get over 15 students placed in a job every year. And so that's pretty important to us, because we have so many children or students who think I'm never going to get a job. And all of a sudden they come into a program like ours where we're helping them develop the skills. We take a look at what skills they have, what skills they don't have, and we develop an education plan to bridge the gap for them to help develop those skills to get the job they want to do. I'm going to skip over this because I'm the only one here, but I'm the coordinator. We have a huge support staff. Our program is embedded within our Disability Resources Department. We are in our Student Services building on campus. So we have a huge, huge presence in our college community. So there's when they're in our programs, all students in C2C are supported by the Disability Department, no matter what school they go to. So Stormy just touched on a lot of these things that the community colleges offer them. But any student, whether you're in C2C or not, that comes into our program will be supported by our Disability Department. And in that, they'll get accommodations, registration assistance, assistive technology, instruction, ed planning. But then in C2C specifically, they're going to get tutoring, study skills. We have student tutors, so they get peer-to-peer support. We do a ton of career exploration. We have a lot of students that come in with these grand ideas, and we're like, oh God, I'm not even going to college for 4 years. I'm not ready for that. So we help whittle them down and do job carving. We teach them how to search for jobs, how to develop their own skill levels, and then we expose them to all sorts of paid and unpaid experiences. They might get volunteering, they might do internships, but now there's a ton of paid internship opportunities through local regional centers and the Department of Rehabilitation. So there's a lot of money coming in for our students. And I'll tell you, the best part is once they start making money, they want to keep making money. And then we also have success coaching. We have a C2C specific computer lab where students can come between the hours of 9 and 3 and get help with anything they need in their academic curriculum. The Department of Rehabilitation plays a huge role in our program. And this is something that we just talked about is C2C costs nothing to any student. It is completely free. They do have to apply for financial aid. If they do not receive aid, the Department of Rehabilitation pays for all of their tuition, books, and supplies. So that's a huge thing for parents. So we have a lot of first-generation students that are coming into our program. We have a lot of students who whose parents couldn't afford for them to go. So there is a lot of wonderful opportunities that we're giving to students that may not otherwise have it. But DOR doesn't just provide just the academic or the payment for the academics. They also offer a lot of career counseling. They do a lot of transportation. We have some students who need to take paratransit. And then they also, I have a couple students who are going through some online programs right now to develop skills that aren't necessarily academic in nature, but will help them achieve their long-term career goal. So what we look for in candidates, it's a little bit different than just wanting to go to college, because our outcome we're looking at is employment. We want to know that they want to work. That's a big, big thing for us. And they want to do homework. I can't tell you how many students are like, oh, I just want to have fun here. I don't want to do homework. So they have to want to go work and go to college and do homework. We look for work experience. It's really interesting. Some students think they want to work, and then the second they get a job, they're like, no, I don't like this. So we look for something basic, volunteering, work experience that, might be entry level. I know that a lot of transition programs provide that right now. So most of our students are coming in with that. It's a commitment. So it's a 3-year program. So they have to want to commit to that. That can be a little daunting at first, but we very rarely have that interfere. Good attendance records. I mean, when students are in the college to career program, it's real college. And so they have to attend in order to pass their classes. And so they have to have a behavior appropriate for a college campus, be safe to be independent on campus, and be able to get to campus some way. And then they have to have a reading and writing ability of a 3rd grade or more level. Our C2C program has 16 units over 3 years that are classes specific to C2C. And in those classes, they're exploring careers, learning how to navigate college campuses, how to do academic work, how to identify weaknesses and skills that they may not have, how to do disability advocacy, how to identify accommodations in the workplace. So in order to do those, they have to be able to write and do the assignments. And then they also have to have knowledge of their disability. In order for us to teach them how to advocate for themselves and develop workplace accommodations, they have to know what their disability is and how it impacts them. So we spend a lot of time helping them what they may think as a weakness of theirs be a strength, and how they can really use that as a pivoting point for their career. So we have quite a few success stories, and I'm going to take you through some of those. So here's Matthew. He's in his 2nd year right now in C2C. He didn't want to work, and now he's a cashier at Home Depot. He's part-time, and he's still in the college, and he's pursuing an IT tech support certificate. So most of our students will be gaining a certificate in addition to taking their C2C classes. And so although he won't finish his certificate while he's in C2C, the Department of Rehabilitation is going to continue to pay for him to go to school for an additional year while he works at Home Depot. And then we will get him placed in a career in some sort of IT tech support. Luis, he's a tire specialist. He is also he's in his 3rd year. He loves automotive. So he got an automotive certificate, and he is currently working, except for he has 1 day a week that he's on campus, but 4 days a week, he's full-time in a tire shop doing brakes, alignments, all sorts of wonderful things. He likes it. He loves it, actually. Luis is a student who has a significant language impairment, but his academics, he's able to do his academics. So that's why he was able to get that certificate in automotive specialist as an automotive specialist, and is working in the brake and tire center now. And he's so happy. He's a 1st generation college student. And so it's pretty remarkable what he's done.
And we have about 1 minute.
Okay. Sammy's whole goal was to work at Oliver's in Sonoma County. Oliver's is a amazing grocery store, and it's a very social place. It's kind of where a lot of people shop, and it was her dream job to work at Oliver's, and she's just crushing it there. I just met with her the other day. She's been out of the program for 2 years now, and she's coming back to take some additional classes. She misses college. So we worked on a schedule the other day that'll allow for her to work and come back to school. And she's doing amazing. And lastly, Dolly, she is in our 3rd year. She's she's a dog washer and groomer. But she wants to work with animals. She's working on an entrepreneurship certificate right now. And she's hoping to open her own boarding and kennel facility where she will take a couple animals at a time, but she's had to write a business plan, and she's taken business math, and gosh, she's just working so hard, but she knows she needs the experience of doing all aspects of caring for animals. So that's why she's working at the grooming salon. And so a lot of our students that come to our campus, what supports them the most is independent living skills. We work with regional centers to get them paired up with an independent living organization, so they can develop those skills. Any type of SLS or in-home services are great. Social skills, we work a lot with our social and executive functioning skills with all of our students, and a lot of relationships. We have a lot of socially based activities. We do mixers all the time. We're gearing up for a big Halloween party. So we still remember what's important to them and make sure that we focus on that. And if there's anybody local, we have an information night on October 23rd, and our applications are due the first Friday in December. All C2C programs operate differently, so I can't say what their application cycles are like, but if you reach out to those, you will be able to find those. And I will stop sharing. And did I make it in time?
All right, we went a little bit over, but
Oh, sorry.
probably worth it. Probably worth it.
Okay.
I thank you so much. And let's see, we're going to jump right into Chelsea and Selena from Meristem. Thanks a lot, Lindsay.
Okay, thank you so much, and we're happy to be here. I'm Chelsea Sanderson with Meristem.
I'm Selena Chang. Yeah, we'll just hop right on. So who and what is Meristem? Meristem is a transition program, and we serve neurodiverse individuals ages 18 to 26. We provide support in 3 areas, which is independent living skills, higher education, or employment. And we are also vendored with the regional centers all throughout California. Meristem is located on the outskirts of Sacramento in Fair Oaks, California. We are so fortunate to be on a beautiful 13 acres. Nature is very important to us. We have the American River right in our backyard. We have chickens on our campus, multiple gardens, and also some wildlife. We are a very warm, welcoming, and safe place for our students. A lot of our students and staff, very welcoming, but build a lot of friendships and strong bonds. We also host events for our community, which gets our students engaged with the community as well throughout Sacramento region, such as fun things like Dungeons and Dragons Club, Magic the Gathering Club. Tonight we just had open mic.
So what makes us pretty unique is that we have what we call the Meristem method that we follow. So really, we are a will-based experiential program. We integrate movement through all of our classes, all of our different offerings, and that really helps our students to reintegrate their nervous system. Through all of our classes and through the experiences that our students are getting here at Meristem, they're really developing, going through developmental stages that they may have not fully developed previously, and really fine-tuning that executive functioning and being better prepared for the next steps in the world. And so a lot of our students are geared more towards the employment side, but constantly our students are learning more and more skills just with the planning executive function of day-to-day life and living. And then we have a lot of students that are also interested in our college experience. So being better prepared for the organization that is usually required for those college classes is really important. So we have 5 pillars and 5 areas that we focus on here. They are land work, craft work, movement, independent living skills, and then our self-leadership. So to go into all of those a little bit more in depth, as Selena already mentioned, we have a beautiful 13-acre campus. Our students do need to have the will to be on the land and experiencing nature. We have multiple gardens, like Shu said. We also help care for our chickens and other wildlife on campus. And so it's just really important for our students to have that grounding and mindfulness, like being and working in the land. And again, a lot of our students may not be have a lot of that experience before coming to us, just based off of a lot of the public education system may not have been very incorporating the land and other areas that we do. But we find that this is something that our students really end up looking forward to and enjoying and helping with them kind of reintegrating themselves into the community. So craft work also helps all of our students with a lot of that good executive functioning, planning different projects and kind of learning a lot of different skills. We have a lot of focus on fine motor as well as gross motor skills through a lot of our different classes. Some offerings that we have in the craft area, it could be anything from textiles, working with yarn and wool, to ceramics. We have woodworking, metalworking, so a wide variety of classes that really works with our students and their different like mobility skills through all of that. And movement is a huge thing. Again, we are role-based and movement is incorporated into all of our classes, but in addition, we have integrated movement where students are working on balance and different coordination skills, as well as some other kind of more traditional classes like our music class or self-defense and those types of classes.
Independent living skills. So first off, our program is very low tech and we are not an accredited program. If a student is interested in higher education, we take them off campus to one of the local colleges. But on our campus, we do provide some independent living skills as a class. That one is more, about teaching our students about finances and taxes and how to navigate medical care, all the fun things that make us adults. But then we also have more in-depth independent living skills where students reside in the dorms on our campus, which is basically a 6-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment where they get to really immerse in the independent living, cooking, cleaning, time managing, budgeting, and even social activities. Our 5th pillar is self-leadership. This is really where it gets, very individualized. Everyone's journey looks different from the others. It's really very person-centered, really gauged to what the students' interests are. It could be anything from going to college to getting a job or, living more independently. And that essentially is what the transition would lead to.
So our enrollment process is a little bit lengthier than some other programs, but we really want to make sure that the student is a good fit for our program, is interested in the types of offerings that we have, and that we can support them successfully into those next steps, since we are a transition program, and it would be more of a short-term program, really preparing a student for something like college experience or employment or living on their own. So the initial step is to speak with Selena or I to get through some general eligibility questions and see where students is at. After that, we would get our application completed as well as have some supporting documents sent over. And if a student is approved, we would be happy to tour the students so they can see the campus and get an idea if this might be something they'd be interested in. And then we do have a pre-enrollment visit. So this is pretty special to Meristem, where we do have students come for multiple day and multiple night stay on campus to totally immerse in the program and be able to really assess us to see if they feel that it will be a good fit for them. And then at the same time, we also complete our assessments to ensure that we can provide a successful program for our student. And so following that pre-enrollment visit, we would be talking about enrollment and possibly picking a start date. And here's some contact information for us. We are very active on Facebook and Instagram. So that's a great way also for others to learn more about us and see what we have going on a regular basis.
Thank you very much. As I think everybody could see, Meristem's kind of a unique program, which is why I was so happy that they were able to be here this evening, because I've known of Meristem for some years now, and I just think, as I said, it is unique. It's not for everybody, but it is unique. So, all right, and bringing us up to the close. Take it away, Sarah.
Right. Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome. My name is Sarah Barnes, and I am the academic director for the UC Davis Redwood Seed Scholars Program. First of all, it's just so cool to see all of the different opportunities that exist in California for our students, and I can't wait to go and share some of these opportunities at our next info session. So we are a 4-year residential inclusive college program at University of California, Davis. And we accept students at the point of entry. Students must be between ages 18 and 24. We don't care if students have a diploma or a certificate, but every applicant we've ever had so far has completed high school. So that would be a requirement. So we kind of always start it's funny, I can't remember who said was low tech or kind of homegrown, but that's sort of what we are. We're a small operation. This is our 4th year. And so we always like to kind of stay grounded in this quote, which is that because most of the time things that are worth doing are either massively inconvenient, exhausting, or terrifying. Does this mean you shouldn't do them? Absolutely not. Step out of your current reality and then take another step, believe, expand, and write out those chances while you still can. So this work that we're all doing is it's tough, and it can be exhausting, and it can be terrifying. Being a parent, trying to navigate this is tough, and it can be inconvenient and exhausting and terrifying. And so we just want to honor that and know that we're all in this together, and the work, it needs to be done. So we're going to be doing it. So with that being said, we start with a little data. So just nationwide, there's about 420,000 college-age students with intellectual disability, but only 2% are likely to attend college after high school. And so for the 98% of college age students with intellectual disability who don't get the chance to attend college, the current reality is not great. Only 15% have paid employment. 42% attend a day program or sheltered workshop. A lot of them are lonely, and about 30% are living below the poverty line. So just in case you were thinking that maybe California was special, spoiler alert, we're not. This is old data. This is California data. Obviously, we're not at $9.50 an hour anymore, but this data is still up on the Department of Developmental Services website. So that tiny orange piece is the percentage of people with disabilities in California that are making a living wage, that have competitive integrated employment. The slightly larger green piece are people who are in like a workability or supported employment program. This giant blue piece are people who are in a sheltered workshop or making sub minimum wage, which was thankfully outlawed in California, but is still allowed federally. And then the truly haunting part is this purple pie piece, where we just really don't know what these people are doing, living in isolation and poverty, most likely, not sharing their gifts and talents with the world, which is really what we want. So this is a super cool art display that is on our campus right now. And it really is, a summary of what we're living. So this present moment used to be the unimaginable future. When our scholars were born, none of these programs really existed. And so just to be able to be part of something like this and to work for this population, we're truly grateful to do this tough stuff. So in 2010, President Obama created federal funding for these post-secondary inclusive college programs. And so we had a $2.1 million grant given to us. Well, we wrote a grant. It wasn't just given to us. Over 5 years, we get to spend that money. So with that, the qualification is that all of our students have to have a diagnosis of intellectual disability. So we do have students with dual diagnoses, but in general, we are looking at global intellectual disability, Down syndrome, Fragile X, Lou Geon syndrome. We have students with physical disabilities as well, seizure disorders, just a really big range of disability. So our mission and vision are both twofold. So yes, of course, we are wanting to support a self-determined and fully inclusive life for people with intellectual disability. And our goal, much like some of these other programs, is to ultimately have them access competitive integrated employment. We also focus on developing mentors that understand the value of inclusion and work to make it a reality. So upon graduation, we want our scholars to be able to live their lives on their terms and follow their dreams. And we want mentors out there in the world that really are working to build a more equitable, inclusive environment in all of the spaces that they go through. So this is a very recent picture. This was taken on Tuesday. This is our freshman, sophomore cohort and their families dropping their students off. So we currently have 42 students. And here is our juniors and seniors. So like I said, we're going to graduate our very first class this year. And they, junior and senior year, move into the apartments, some apartments in Davis. As a side note, I went to UC Davis, and these at the time were really cool apartments, and they still are. So we're super lucky to have our scholars get to access this. So we have a lot of data about the benefits of college for degree-seeking students. And, you know, in broad terms, better relationships, better health outcomes, we're more civically engaged, better paying jobs, and just generally happier across basically every metric. And so the great news is this happens for students in inclusive post-secondary programs too. So for that 2% nationwide who are attending programs like this, the outcomes are promising. So we've got a way higher rate of employment. We've got higher wages, like some other folks mentioned. We've got 87% of our students nationwide are enrolled in a credential program. And then all of these are called TIPSID, these programs under our grant, all of them have peer mentor support, which is huge. So what's kind of cool about our program is that we're a collaboration between UC Davis DEI and also UC Davis Health through the Mind Institute. So we are, like I mentioned, a 4-year program that's residential. So it's the first one in California and the second in the entire West. The other 4-year residential program is at UNLV, but we are building, working with Sac State to build a program there. And our goal is to have these programs at every UC and CSU. So we are a cohort model, which we believe creates the dream, which is more friendship and opportunities to engage socially. If you ask any of our sophomores, juniors, and seniors, what's the best part about being a Redwood Seed Scholar? Almost all of them would say, you know, the bonds, the romantic relationships they're forming, the true deep friendships they're forming, and just getting to be with their peers in a college setting. And we think that, well, we know that the residential piece gives our students who are typically very socially isolated a chance to really practice what it means to live independently and do it in context. So there are 5 parts to our program. We have academics, employment, residential living, health and wellness, and social inclusion. So I only have 10 minutes, so I'm not going to go too deep into this, but basically students take courses with us that are called foundational courses, and then they start taking UC Davis classes. So any, you know, open campus general catalog class that they want, beginning in their spring quarter of their freshman year, and then they just add more and more courses as the years go on, depending on interest. They live in the dorms for the first 2 years in supported living environment with each other, and then we have mentors that come check in on them. And then junior, senior year, they move to apartment living. Health and wellness is a huge focus for us. We have mentors that are supporting scholars with nutrition, sleep hygiene, mental health, and exercise in whatever capacity our scholars are interested. And then social inclusion, you know, that this looks like sororities, fraternities, clubs, track, band, anime, group, whatever you can imagine. And then obviously the big idea here is employment. So our students have internships, and then they do paid work experience. So right now, every single sophomore, junior, and senior has at least one paid job. They're learning the bus system, they're learning Uber. A very small handful of our students do drive, ride bikes everywhere. So just figuring out what it means to be an independent adult. And we really very much believe it is person-centered. So somebody else mentioned the gradual release of parenting. You know, going from fierce advocate to trusted advisor is kind of our focus, and that's very hard. We just did our parent university yesterday, and it's tough. So I know you parents, it can feel challenging, but we promise in these programs we have the supports that your student needs. We do have am I out of time already? I see your face there. Okay, we have mentors in all 5 areas. These are some of the classes. I do just want to get to really fast. If you are interested in applying, our applications open soon and they close on January 3rd, 2025. And here's a QR code for our website. Okay. Thank you.
Wonderful. You did it. You did it. Here comes the clock timer. All right. You know, we talked a little bit about the role of parents and how, you know, we need to have to take a back seat. Could some or all of you talk about how you handle sharing information with parents? Because I know there are a lot of parents in the audience who are probably wanting to know that question, but nobody's asked it yet. So I'll ask it.
Well, I don't mind starting. Sure. So I think it's really important for parents to start to get used to the idea that their child is an adult and they start to be able to flex their independence and what they want to share. And so I think all of us, based on the nodding heads, are walking this fine balance of honoring the student or client who we're working with and their preferences, and respecting that parents are an active, invested part of like making sure that we as a program are providing what they need and they have a lens into their growth and opportunities. So we balance that with the student. Most of our students do sign a release. Our program, because we're funded by the regional center, that provides a level of transparency. So most of our students then are having quarterly meetings. I think most of these programs are doing the same if they're regional center funded. So the regional center will provide that chance for parents to get a lens into how are we working towards their individual goals? What's the progress monitoring in that area? So I think that's shared amongst regional center funded programs, which is a great assurance for families that is not outside of California. So a wonderful thing. And then for us as well, we have a portal that parents can log in and view broad notes for students in instructional sessions. We don't recommend they go in it every day. Take a breather, check in once a week, see what's going on, use it to anchor a phone call with your child and say, hey, what's going on? Nothing. Well, I saw that you went to this social, and share a little bit more about it. So we do help parents see a little bit to understand how they're working and flexing their skills, what skills they're learning and working on, and have that open transparency, because I think it's a huge investment to kind of step into enrolling your child into a program and living away from home. And we want to provide a little bit of assurance surrounding that.
Okay, great. Thanks. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll speak on it really quickly. And we work very closely with our families. We our founder calls it the steel umbilical cord, because it's one of those things that with these particular students, they're probably a little bit closer to, right? And have been working very closely with them throughout their lives. And it's that time where they're sort of letting go. We actually have a whole sort of program about letting go and acknowledging that parents have been a big part of this, and we work in partnership with them throughout their program. So, we realize that they've been with them all their lives up until the time that they've come to us, right? And we want to be able to leverage all of the different things that they've learned. And sometimes and then, help our students sort of use them. Sometimes I talk about it like a tool belt, right? Like your parents have given you all these great, incredible tools throughout your lives, and you come into our program and now you get a chance to really sort of use those things, understand what they're for and how to use them, how to apply them. And in terms of communication with the families, Jessica spoke about our advising department. It's a central point of communication, so we don't have everybody communicating with the families all at one point. We've got that advisor, which is sort of that hub of the wheel, that they're connected to all the different services and supports that we have. And that advisor then is connecting with the families on a regular basis. And then students transition. We're teaching them how to sort of advocate and give those progress reports on their own. So it's not like, as an adult, I don't have someone reporting to my family about where I'm going, what I'm doing. We want that same kind of thing for them too, so that they're learning how to get the support that they need and report on their progress and challenges and goals.
Okay. Yeah, Lindsay?
We very similar. We have also all students complete a release of information if they want us to talk with their parent. However, we kind of scaffold it so we keep the parents really involved during the first 6 months through orientation, Department of Rehabilitation intakes, their disability resource department intakes, so they're part of that. But when we're doing that, we're teaching the student to be the lead speaker and the parent to be the backup speaker. And so we kind of let them see their child be successful on their own so that they're witnessing it. And then we kind of taper that off. We have to follow FERPA, which is the educational version of HIPAA. But we know that safety trumps FERPA. So if there's ever a safety thing that's happening with a child or a student, we will immediately bring the parent in, but we really work on scaffolding their child's ability to advocate for themselves over time. And if that release is signed and we feel that the parent needs to be brought in, we will.
Okay, great, thanks. We have the Meristem team with their hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, it sounds like a lot of us have very similar supports in place, but kind of like Michael said, we have our student coordinators that are working and kind of the holder of information between all of our different departments here and our students, and then as well as families in the regional center. So with the regional center being a part of that too, I think it was Amy who was talking about that we have regular meetings that the families are giving feedback on goals. But we, in addition, also do monthly check-ins with our families. And so just even some of the next things to share about different social events, like you said, Amy, or strengths of classes and things that they're doing, projects, then we can share some of that fun stuff. Very similar, like to have something for parents to be able to continue a conversation a little bit more than say, what have you been doing? And they aren't giving a lot of feedback. So then they have a little bit more to talk about and touch on. So we like to collaborate with our families as well and get feedback on maybe if there's something coming up for them too, what has been successful previously to help them work through any issues or concerns coming up.
Okay, great, thanks. Anybody else?
I can speak about kind of the way we do things. Like I said, we just did our parent university and we had to talk about cutting the cord, and that's difficult. We want our students to advocate for themselves and choose the classes they want and try the jobs they want, even if it's not what their families thought they would be doing. But we do have twice a year person-centered planning meetings, which we call like the opposite of an IEP. So it's run by the student, and those are the spaces when things come up. So we always let our families know no news is good news. So if you're not hearing from the program, assume the best. And then, little issues that need to be tweaked will come up in our person-centered planning meetings. Again, obviously, if it's a 911, we're not going to be keeping that a secret, but day-to-day conflict, problems, things we have to work on, we just work it out with our scholars, and then only contact the parents really like when things get extreme.
You getting some love in the chat. People are saying, thank you for sharing the great programs. Very excited for the opportunities for our kids in the future. So Jennifer says, happy to be invited to present, and so happy it's been worthwhile. This gives me such hope. Now that's a great thing for us parents to go away with, right? So we want to thank you, all 6 of you, for coming tonight. I think it was a success. Maybe we can try and do these little mini resource fairs more.